Hi everybody, welcome to Tech Growth Stocks channel. Today I present you a new episode. Specifically, I will give you 5 top software stocks for 2021. So this is part 2 of the series, and I will give you, as said, 5 top software stocks with excellent growth and strong momentum as well. So I think it definitely pays to watch that video until the end and have a look with me at all of these nice strong software stocks. So before I start right off with the first top software stock, I have to make a short disclaimer. This video does not constitute financial advice. It's for entertainment purposes only, so please consider that. And also one more quick note, please subscribe now to my channel with a link in the description below so that going forward you do not miss any market leading stocks from me. So please subscribe now. Okay, so that was it for the intro. So let's start right off with the first top software stock for 2021. And it is DOCU. Here you can see the longer term chart of DocuSign, and as you can see, DocuSign was a recent IPO in April 2018, so it's a quite young company in its first 10 years after its IPO. And this, in the first 10 years after their IPOs, these young companies, 95% of their super performance is happening in their first 10 years after their IPOs. So this could be a very strong performer going forward, DocuSign. Yeah, after its IPO, it built a nice IPO base here, or period of pause, and we could break out of that IPO base, let's say in September 2019, and trade strongly to the upside since then, and had a strong uptrend. When we look at the short-term chart, we see now we have been pausing, had a pausing phase now, since let's say around July 2020 in DocuSign. We had often we tried to break out, but we came back. So we are still in that pausing phase. But I think sooner or later we could break out sooner or later, I think, in DocuSign. When we look at the growth characteristics, the EPS growth is not the strongest, it's past 4%, but the sales growth is very good with 49%, and the relative strength rating is good with 90. So I think DocuSign is definitely a top software stock for 2021. Okay, so now let's have a look at the next top software stock for 2021. And it is the Trade Desk, TTD. Here you can see the longer term chart of the Trade Desk, and as you can see, the Trade Desk was an IPO in September 2016, so it's in its first 10 years after its IPO. And after its IPO, it formed a nice IPO base here, period of pause. It could break out of that IPO base and form a nice and very strong uptrend since then. The short-term chart, you see that uptrend. Here you see a shorter term period of pause or base, and it could break out of that base. And yeah, now we are building, came back here in the Trade Desk from the highs, and now it looks like the Trade Desk is building a new base here, which is, I think, an exciting moment. I think sooner or later, if the market trades to the upside more, I think sooner or later the Trade Desk will follow. I mean, we could trade around here, and then break to the upside strongly. So I think the Trade Desk, we should cover that strongly. And when we look at the growth characteristics, the EPS growth is good with 46%. The sales growth is okay with 9%. And the relative strength rating is good with 90. So I think TTD is definitely a top software stock for 2021. Okay, so that was it for the Trade Desk. Now let's have a look at the next top software stock for 2021, and it is SNAP, Snap. Here you can see the longer term chart of Snap, and as you can see, Snap was an IPO in February 2017. After its IPO, it formed a downtrend, a long-term downtrend, and it made its low in December 2018. And then from that December 18 low, it could reverse, trade strongly to the upside, form a new uptrend. And last year, yeah, we had a breakdown with the Corona pandemic in March, that we made a March low in Snap, but we could reverse from that and continue with that strong uptrend. And when we look in the short-term chart, you see an uptrend here, or here especially you see a period of pause, which is a base, and we a strong earnings breakout, and yeah, and a continuation of that uptrend. And recently we bounced off the 50-day moving average, and now we're holding quite well, and here we are building a base. And I think breakout above these highs here, above this line around $55 would be a very strong sign for Snap. When we look at the growth characteristics for Snap, the EPS growth is plus 4%, and the sales growth is good with 35%, and the relative strength rating is good as well. And Snap is in a hot sector in the interactive media and communication services software space. So I think Snap is definitely a top software stock for 2021. Okay, so that was it for Snap. Now let's have a look at the next top software stock for 2021. And it is ESTC, Elastic. Here you can see the long-term chart of ESTC, and as you can see, ESTC was an IPO in October 2018, so it's in its first 10 years after its IPO, so it is in its super performance phase. And yeah, you see here we built a nice IPO base, and then we traded a little bit to the upside, but then we moved into a downtrend for ESTC, and we made a low in March 2020 in ESTC, and we could reverse from that low, trade to the upside, and form a nice and very strong uptrend since then. And in the short-term chart, you see that uptrend here. Here you see a kind of period of pause or base building phase here, as well as smaller pause and base building phase, breakout here, and then here another breakout, strong trade. And we traded strongly to the upside, and recently we came back a little bit in the Elastic, and now it looks like we want to bounce off the 40-day moving average in Elastic. When we look at the growth characteristics, the EPS growth is sluggish with minus 53%, but the sales growth is very good with 43%, and the relative strength rating is okay with 86. So I think Elastic is also a top software stock for 2021. Okay, so that was it for Elastic. And now we come to the last top software stock for 2021 for today, and it is NUAN, Nuance Communications. Here you can see the longer term chart of Nuance, and as you can see, yeah, Nuance was in a long-term sideways movement here, and it could break out of that sideways movement around, let's say here around November, December 2019, and form a nice and very strong uptrend. And you see as well, yeah, with the Corona breakdown, we also had a strong pullback in Nuance in March 2020, and we made a low in March 2020 in that pullback, and we reversed from that low, traded to the upside, and continued with a very strong uptrend in Nuance Communications. When we look in the short-term chart, we see a strong uptrend here since the March lows, a very strong uptrend, and recently we built a high handle here, and we broke out, and now we came back. So I think we continue with the base building or pausing phase, and then sooner or later I think we will break out of that pause and continue with the uptrend in Nuance. When we look at the growth characteristics, the EPS growth is not the strongest, it's minus 11%, and so is the sales growth, it's minus 25%. But when we look at the relative strength rating, it's okay with 87. So I think Nuance is also a good top software stock for 2021. Okay, so these were the top software stocks for 2021 for today. And I hope in that video are some nice software stocks for you, which you can use for your research. And also, if you missed part 1 of the top software stocks, I highly recommend it for you to watch it, because I think these software stocks are even better than in part 2. So if you missed it, please have a look on my channel. So they are excellent software stocks for you to consider. Okay, so thank you for watching that video, and also please do not forget to subscribe to my channel with a link in the description below, so that going forward you do not miss any market leading stocks from me. So please subscribe now. And yeah, I think this year will be an excellent stock trading year, with all that fiscal and monetary stimulus going around the world from all of these central banks and government. So I think that will propel the stock prices up even further. And so I think we will run from new highs to new highs. I mean, there could be a correction as well, but I think at some point we will recover it, and I think over the next decade this will be an excellent decade for stock investing and trading. Okay, so thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again soon. Cheers.